Hello students, welcome once again in the lecture series of differentiation. This is lecture number 4. Lecture number 4 will be divided into 3 to 4 lectures of 10 minutes each. So this lecture you can call as lecture number 4A. In last lecture I taught you derivative of composite functions. In this lecture we are going to take some simple problems wherein we are going to learn how to differentiate functions of x which are composite functions. So as you can see the headings here, differentiate the following functions of, differentiate the following functions with respect to x. And in red ink I have written problems based on concept of derivative of composite functions. So let's begin with the first question here you have is, the first question you all can see is a root of x plus 1 upon root of x, square root of x, and then you have this inside a bracket and raised to 5. So this function we need to differentiate. It is a root of x plus 1 upon root of x the whole raised to 5. So the first thing is I will write this thing given function as equal to y. So I wrote y equals to the given function. Then I'm writing differentiating both sides with respect to x. My question was, the question was that we needed to differentiate this function of x with respect to x. Now when I'm taking this function of x as y, my aim is to now find derivative of y with respect to x, because now this function I'm taking it equal to y. So now I can say that I have to find dy by dx. Once I will have found dy by dx, I have found derivative of y with respect to x. I have found derivative of y with respect to x, which is derivative of given function with respect to x. So I wrote differentiating both sides with respect to x. So I wrote differentiating both sides with respect to x, and then see it is d by dx of left hand side, d by dx of right hand side. Now once when we start writing d by dx on the right hand side, I want you all to see here. Look at this step, students. The first step is to recognize the function. I must recognize the function. I must recognize the function. You will all note this. The first step is what? To recognize the function. Which function? The function that you want to differentiate. So see here, d by dx. You will not be able to apply a proper result unless you know what kind of function is this. So see, the first step is to recognize the function. So here, what function is this? This function is variable raised to constant function. What function is this, students? This is variable raised to constant function. Why? Because see, I have got here variable as the base. And what is power? Power is a constant. So it is variable raised to constant. You all have to agree that it is variable raised to constant. You don't see any, you don't say anything other than a variable in the in the base, and a power here as a constant. So it is variable is to constant. Then you all know what is d by dx of variable is to constant. What was the result, students? It was, you remember, d by dx of x raised to n, it was n into x raised to n minus 1. But then a very important thing to be noted here is that in this variable raised to constant, the variable is x, we are differentiating with respect to x, wherein here when I'm saying variable is to constant, my variable here is not x. What is it? It is f of x. So here we are going to apply which result? If you remember, I had given you a result for composite function. It is, we are going to apply d by dx of f of x raised to n. Here we will have f of x raised to n. So what was derivative of this? If you remember, you can pause the video and recall it. It was n into f of x raised to n minus 1 into d by dx of f of x, n into f of x raised to n minus 1 into d by dx of f of x. So this 5 will come here, 5 into root of x. See, f of x is root x plus 1 upon root x raised to 5 minus 1 into d by dx of f of x into d by dx of f of x. So 5 minus 1 is 4, and then it is d by dx of root x plus 1 upon root x. what happens next is, see, you wrote d by dx of f of x. Now this d by dx for root x and d by dx of 1 upon root x. Do not forget to put a bracket here. Why bracket? Why bracket? Because you have a product sign here. Now this d by dx goes inside, and since you have a plus sign here, you will get a plus sign here, but whatever you get has to be put in a bracket, because outside the factor you have, it needs to be multiplied with both of these. Students forget to write this bracket, and then finally the answer that they get is wrong, because in that case what happens is, only the only the first term gets multiplied, with the outside factor, not the second term. So you need to put a bracket here. Then d by dx of root x, here d by dx of root x is 1 upon 2 root x. You can check, d by dx of root x is 1 upon 2 root x. Okay, and this one is a bit interesting. See, here you have d by dx of 1 upon root x. How do we differentiate? For differentiating d by dx of 1 upon root x, I need to first understand what result I have to apply. So 1 upon root x, I first write root x square root of x as x raised to half, and then when x raised to half goes up in the numerator, x raised to half, and then when it goes up in the numerator, it is x raised to minus half. And then what you have? You will have x raised to n, so it is n into x raised to n minus 1, and then you get x raised to minus 3 by 2, and so 1 upon 2 root x. The outside thing remains as it is, 1 upon 2 root x. This is derivative, and this is still the same, and here you get minus half minus 1 is minus 3 by 2. And after this step, this is all just simplification, nothing else. It is only simplification. So here you have again 1 upon 2 root x, and this you take in the denominator, so x raised to 3 by 2. Now you know x raised to minus 3 by 2, in denominator it is x raised to 3 by 2, and this x raised to 3 by 2 I have split as x into x raised to 1 by 2. So x is here, and x raised to 1 by 2 is root of x. Then from these two terms I have taken 1 upon 2 root x common, so I got 1 minus 1 upon x. Uh, wherever you find wherever you find the things to be repeated, you can just rewind the video and listen to it again and again. You can pause the video and look at the steps as per your requirement. You can go slow. Okay, this completes the first question, and then we have the second question. See, here we have second question. Here the second question is root of sine x. So once again I wrote this thing as y, so y equals to root of sine x. I want derivative of root of sine x, which I am taking it as y, so now I can say that I want derivative of y with respect to x. I differentiate both sides with respect to x, so d by dx of y. Differentiating both sides with respect to x means you write d by dx on the left hand side, you write d by dx on the right hand side. Now d by dx of root sine x. Once again, same thing. What I said, in all such questions, when you begin, the first step is to recognize the function. See, here also I had written, what was the first step which I wrote? I wrote the first step is to recognize the function. Here I wrote the first step is what? Recognize the function. Here also you'll write the same thing. What is the first step? Recognize the function. I'm sorry, I misspelled it. The first step is to recognize the function. This is first step, to recognize the function. Okay, unless you do this, you won't be able to go ahead. So root of sine x, what kind of function is this? Some of you might say it is sine function. My dear students, you see sine there, but please don't call this as sine function as of now. Sin x is there, but don't call it a sine of function. So what function is this? The outer function. Try to understand the outer function. It is a root function. It is square root function. You know what? It is d by dx of root of x, which is equal to 1 upon 2 root x. Make you have to take a note of it. Please learn this. It is d by dx of a root square root function, but it is not x. root function, but it is root f of x. So its derivative will be 1 upon 2 root f of x. If you have d by dx of root f of x, d by dx of root f of x. Remember what you wrote? You can check the last video. 1 upon 2 root f of x into d by dx of f of x into d by dx of f of x into d by dx. So here it is 1 upon 2 root sin x into d by dx of sin x. And what is d by dx of sin x, my dear students? It is cos of x. So you get cos x upon 2 root sin x. These two problems I solved for you. You can once again revise this thing and check what is it. You can check once again